my attention was really drawn to what Colorado is already doing. We know that Colorado lives off of attracting top transfer portal talent. And yesterday or 2 days ago, maybe they pulled Jaheim Otis from Alabama, a guy that I was really intrigued by when I watched his tape over the summer. He is a very gifted athlete, was not able to get into the mix at Alabama. And I think that he is extremely underrated to contribute and to play very well for Colorado. One of the things that we talked about with Colorado and that we discussed with the Big 12, Blake, is that there is a void of talent, especially along offensive lines. To have a guy that is as physically gifted as him to step into the mix can be extremely, extremely disruptive for Colorado going up against every single team in the Big 12. But where my attention really peaked today was when they got Kaidon Salter. And I was texting with somebody about this, and I thought, wow, this is really crazy that they're going from Shedeur Sanders, who was phenomenal, to Kaidon Salter, and then Juju Lewis, who Salter and Juju Lewis are very similar style players and have very similar just physical profiles, that they get to go in this lineage of just tremendous quarterback talent. I really wouldn't be surprised, and we said this before knowing where Kaidon Salter went, I wouldn't be surprised by the end of this year, this upcoming season, that he isn't in that conversation of maybe being a late first-round pick, early second-round pick, or even higher than that. He's a gifted athlete. He is going to be huge for this team in 2025. It is always a smart pick, I think, going forward to put Colorado in the conversation and win the Big 12, and the momentum is definitely in their direction.
Look, Kaidon Salter got a lot of SEC looks here. I mean, listen, I know of 2 SEC teams that really wanted him. I don't know why Auburn didn't make sense to him with going back with his old head coach. But it's not just Kaidon Salter, Joe, that I'm looking at here. They also got Jaheim Otis. Mm-hmm. And Jaheim Otis, the defensive tackle from Alabama, also was regarded in the SEC, and teams in the SEC wanted him. So, listen, you might not have, if you're Colorado and Deion, you might not have the roster of a Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, Oregon, etc., but you are getting your fair share of those caliber of athletes. I do think their philosophy's got to change, though. And that's the only thing. If you want to take that next step of greatness, brother, you're replacing the Heisman Trophy winner. That's a lot to replace in and of itself. You're replacing a quarterback that went into year 2 at Colorado. That's a big deal in and of itself. Where portal quarterbacks like Cam Moore can come in and do ungodly things, Salter can and probably will do that in the Big 12. He lit up a lot of people. He lit up a lot of teams. Joe, we saw him against Oregon before his team was decimated by the portal. Brother, he went off. I mean, let's call it what it is. It's not like that he's pedestrian in what he needs to do here. It's a really good pickup, more than a good pickup. It's a great pickup by Colorado. But I think and stay with me here, there's no position bigger than quarterback. I'm with that. I think the bigger thing for me is landing a guy like Jaheim Otis due to the fact that I know that SEC teams were after him. I know that Colorado did what they had to do to be able to get him. Hint, hint, wink, wink. And Jaheim Otis went there. There's a difference in getting a big-time quarterback like him based off the system that you run and the receivers that you're recruiting. It's a completely different thing here when you're getting SEC DTs. That's a game changer for you because Jaheim Otis can come in there and be an outright game changer for you. So talking about Colorado specifically, they're going to be another one of those top classes that you got to watch out for. Thing is, I think they need to continue to get better along the offensive line. I think that they have done good in some areas. They've neglected it a little bit. But, Joe, here's the thing. They got to go run the football too. You want to take that next step, you got to learn how to run the football. You can't be 130th in rushing yards. That's just the bottom line with them.
I was really high on Augustive towards the end of the season, and I think that his role and his impact is going to continue to expand. He's a super underrated player. He could be one of the best running backs in the Big 12 this upcoming year. I do wonder if they try to bolster their offensive line a little bit more. They had big improvements last season by bringing in some more talented players, but we recognized this last offseason and we've recognized it this year, and a lot of people have recognized it this year. Shedeur Sanders still faced a lot of pressures. And there were still a lot of outside of Seton. There were still a lot of miscues and misfirings and a lot
and
of.
That's a true freshman.
Right. Seton was a true freshman. So he's certainly the cornerstone at left tackle for them. But if they can pull one of the top 10, top 15 tackles or interior linemen in this class, I don't know if they're necessarily in the mix for anybody that high. That's to me where this really starts to take that extra step forward, because like you talked about, having an SEC defensive lineman is so significant. For anyone who wants to hate on that for Colorado, feel free to. It's meaningless. It is hard to get SEC defensive linemen to come play in the Big 12. It is very hard.
I'll tell you. There were A&M, LSU, and Florida all wanted Otis. LSU desperately wanted him, and he's with the Young Money Agency. Mm-hmm. Little Wayne was literally sitting at the Heisman Trophy. You can put right. Context clues together on how this thing works. Who's representing Hunter? Who's representing Shador? Otis still has that. Guess who represents Kaidon Salter?
Same.
So, I mean, context clues are key here. People in the media, what fans don't realize is that people in the media, they get texts from agent firms. Hey, my guy's going in the portal, or my guy just signed here. And that's how all this news gets broken. So, they're going to continue to go down that well as much as they can here as well.
BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions, with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.